Did you know that Arizona contains a crater so perfectly preserved that NASA trains astronauts there because it looks exactly like the moon? That beneath the Sonoran Desert lies enough groundwater to supply the entire state for centuries, but it's disappearing faster than rain can replace it, and that its landscape holds evidence of catastrophic floods so massive they carved canyons in days, floods that dwarf anything witnessed in recorded history. Arizona is not just cacti and cowboy movies. It's ancient meteor impacts, vanishing rivers, and geographical extremes that will blow your mind. Get ready because today you'll discover 50 insane facts about Arizona that will completely change the way you see the Grand Canyon State. 50. The Meteor Crater. That changed science forever. 50,000 years ago, a nickel-iron meteorite traveling 26,000 miles per hour slammed into northern Arizona with the force of 2.5 megatons of TNT, 150 times more powerful than the Hiroshima bomb. The impact created Barringer Meteor Crater, a hole 550 feet deep and nearly a mile wide. It's the best-preserved meteor impact site on Earth. The crater is so pristine, so perfectly bowl-shaped, that NASA used it to train Apollo astronauts for lunar missions. You can walk up to the rim and look down into the massive depression. Geologists initially thought it was a volcanic crater until Daniel Barringer proved it was an impact site in the early 1900s, revolutionizing our understanding of cosmic collisions. The meteorite itself vaporized on impact, but fragments scattered across the desert are still being found today. 49. The Colorado River that's running dry. The Colorado River carved the Grand Canyon over millions of years, but now it's disappearing. Lake Mead, the massive reservoir behind Hoover Dam, has dropped to 27% capacity, the lowest since it was filled in the 1930s. The river supplies water to 40 million people across 7 states and Mexico, but demand exceeds supply by billions of gallons annually. Arizona is entitled to 2.8 million acre-feet of Colorado River water per year, but climate change and overuse mean the river barely reaches the Gulf of California anymore. The delta that once supported jaguars and wetlands is now mostly dry sand. Standing at the confluence where the Colorado meets the Gila River, you're often looking at a trickle where a mighty river should flow. The geography that made Arizona habitable is literally drying up. 48. The only place where 4 states meet. At Four Corners Monument, you can stand in Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, and Utah simultaneously. The only place in the United States where 4 state borders meet at a single point. But here's the geographic twist. The monument is actually about 1,800 feet from where the true Four Corners point should be, due to 19th century surveying errors. The Supreme Court ruled the monument's location is the legal border regardless of the surveying mistake. The site sits on Navajo Nation land in the high desert at 4,900 feet elevation. Geographically, it's an arbitrary point, but it represents something unique, a place where 4 distinct political jurisdictions converge in the middle of nowhere. 47. Where North America's plates are ripping apart. The Basin and Range Province covers southern Arizona and is actively being stretched apart by tectonic forces. The Earth's crust is literally pulling apart, creating a series of north-south mountain ranges separated by flat valleys. This extension has been happening for millions of years and continues today. GPS measurements show the region is widening at about ½ an inch per year. Earthquakes are common. Arizona experiences several hundred small quakes annually. The largest recorded was magnitude 5.3 near Fredonia in 1959. The geography you see, dramatic isolated mountains rising from flat valleys, is the result of the continent slowly tearing itself apart. 46. The ancient seabed. Now 7,000 feet high. The Grand Canyon's rim sits at 7,000 to 8,000 feet elevation, but the rock layers at the bottom are ancient seabed. The Vishnu schist at the canyon's base is 1.7 billion years old, formed when Arizona was underwater. Above it sit layer after layer of marine limestone, sandstone, and shale, all deposited when shallow seas covered the region at various times. Fossils of trilobites, brachiopods, and ancient corals are common. You can hike from the rim to the river and walk through 2 billion years of Earth's history. The canyon walls are a textbook of geological time, each layer telling the story of when Arizona was tropical ocean, desert, swamp, or beach. The entire state rose from sea level to mile-high plateau through tectonic uplift. 45. The coastline Arizona lost. Arizona once had a coastline. During the Cretaceous period, 100 to 66 million years ago, a shallow sea called the Western Interior Seaway stretched from the Gulf of Mexico to the Arctic Ocean, splitting North America in two. Eastern Arizona was beachfront property. Mosasaurs, plesiosaurs, and giant sea turtles swam where Flagstaff stands today. Marine fossils, shark teeth, ammonites, and oyster shells are found throughout eastern Arizona, hundreds of miles from any current ocean. The state's foundation is compressed sea life from when Arizona was underwater. Dig down through the desert and you hit fossilized ocean. 44. When the biggest volcanic eruption. In North America, hit Arizona's Sunset Crater near Flagstaff erupted in 1064 CE, producing the most recent volcanic activity in Arizona. But the real geological giant is the San Francisco volcanic field, covering 1,800 square miles with over 600 volcanoes. The highest is Humphreys Peak at 12,633 feet, Arizona's tallest mountain and a dormant stratovolcano. The volcanic field has been active for 6 million years and isn't finished. The USGS considers it a moderate threat for future eruptions. Geologists have found evidence of eruptions as recently as 1,000 years ago. Arizona's northern landscape is built on volcanic rock. Lava flows, cinder cones, and ash deposits cover thousands of square miles. The state is volcanically active, just resting between eruptions. 43. The lava tubes you can walk through beneath northern Arizona's volcanic fields lie extensive lava tube caves. When lava flows, the surface cools and hardens while molten lava continues flowing underneath, eventually draining away and leaving hollow tubes. Some Arizona lava tubes stretch for miles. Lava River Cave near Flagstaff is 3/4 of a mile long and tall enough to walk through without ducking. The tubes maintain constant temperatures around 40 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. Ice forms inside some tubes and never melts, even in summer when surface temperatures exceed 100 degrees Fahrenheit. These are Arizona's hidden underworld, volcanic tunnels carved by liquid rock just centuries ago. 42. Arizona's surprise mountain forests. Most people picture Arizona as desert, but the state has the largest contiguous ponderosa pine forest in North America. The Coconino National Forest covers 1.8 million acres of high-elevation forest around Flagstaff. Ponderosa pines grow 100-plus feet tall in soil derived from volcanic ash. Higher elevations support Douglas fir, aspen, and even spruce, species typically found in Colorado or Canada. The Mogollon Rim is a 200-mile escarpment marking where the Colorado Plateau suddenly drops 2,000 feet to the desert below. Drive from Phoenix to Flagstaff, and you climb from 1,100 feet to 7,000 feet from saguaro cactus to pine forest in 140 miles. Arizona contains more ecological diversity than most states twice its size. 41. The forest that turned to stone. Petrified Forest National Park preserves one of the world's largest concentrations of petrified wood. 225 million years ago, during the Triassic period, Arizona was a tropical forest near the equator. Giant conifers grew along rivers and swamps. When the trees died and were buried by volcanic ash and sediment, groundwater rich in silica slowly replaced the wood's organic material with quartz crystals, creating perfect stone replicas. The trees are so well preserved you can see growth rings, bark texture, and even insect borings. Entire logs 100-plus feet long lie scattered across the Badlands, transformed into multicolored stone. It's a fossil forest. Trees from 225 million years ago turned to rainbow-colored crystal. 40. Lake Powell's Drowned Canyons. Lake Powell, created by Glen Canyon Dam in 1963, is the second largest reservoir in the United States, holding 27 million acre-feet of water when full. But it drowned Glen Canyon, a sandstone wonderland of side canyons, arches, and grottos that rivaled the Grand Canyon in beauty. Entire ecosystems were submerged. Ancient Native American sites vanished underwater. Today, with the lake at 27% capacity due to drought, the drowned canyons are re-emerging. Bathtub rings on the canyon walls show how far the water has dropped, over 180 feet below full pool. You can now hike into canyons that were underwater for 60 years, seeing landscapes that an entire generation never knew existed. Lake Powell is dying, revealing the geography it destroyed. But before continuing, be sure to subscribe and leave a like to keep discovering the strange and incredible geography of our entire country. 39. The land of 10,000 sinkholes, underground. Northern Arizona sits on the Kaibab Plateau, a massive limestone layer riddled with caves and sinkholes. Water slowly dissolves the limestone, creating underground caverns that occasionally collapse. Most of Arizona's caves are lava tubes or solution caves in limestone. The Grand Canyon caverns near Peach Springs descend 210 feet underground into a limestone cavern 25 million years old. These caverns are completely dry, no dripping water, no stalactites forming. They're ancient, fossil caves from when the water table was much higher. Walking through them feels like entering a stone tomb, perfectly preserved from millions of years ago. 38. The Mogollon Rim, Arizona's Great Wall. The Mogollon Rim is a 200-mile-long escarpment running across central Arizona, marking the southern edge of the Colorado Plateau. In places, the rim rises 2,000 feet above the surrounding lowlands in a nearly vertical cliff. It's a geographical dividing line. Above the rim is ponderosa pine forest and cool mountain climate. Below is Sonoran Desert and blazing heat. The rim forces monsoon moisture upward, creating thunderstorms. It's also a biological boundary. Species above and below are completely different. Driving along the rim highway, you're on the edge of a massive plateau, looking down at a different world. Early settlers called it the Wall because it was such a formidable barrier. 37. The Salt River that vanished. The Salt River flows through Phoenix, except it doesn't anymore. Dams upstream trap every drop for agriculture and drinking water. The river that Native Americans depended on for centuries now runs dry most of the year through the city. The riverbed is a sandy wasteland, a ghost river. Only during major floods does water reach Phoenix, and even then it's quickly captured by upstream reservoirs. Arizona's rivers are heavily engineered. Only 2% of the state's original riparian habitat remains. The geography that made Phoenix habitable, the confluence of the Salt and Gila rivers, no longer exists in any natural sense. The rivers are gone, replaced by concrete channels and empty sand. 36. The Paria Canyon Flash Flood Death Trap. Paria Canyon, along the Arizona-Utah border, is one of the most dangerous slot canyons in America. The canyon is 38 miles long, with some sections only 10 feet wide and hundreds of feet deep. During monsoon season, flash floods can fill the canyon with a 30-foot wall of water in minutes. There's no escape. The walls are vertical. Hikers have drowned in these floods. The canyon's geography makes it a perfect flood funnel. A massive watershed funnels rainfall into a narrow slot, creating violent torrents that scour everything from the canyon floor. The danger is real, unpredictable, and deadly. Permits are required and limited because the geography itself is a lethal weapon during storms. 35. The mystery of the Hohokam Canal System. The Hohokam people built over 500 miles of irrigation canals in the Phoenix Basin between 1 to 1450 CE, the largest prehistoric canal system in North America. These weren't ditches, they were engineering marvels, some over 90 feet wide and 10 feet deep, carrying water from the Salt and Gila rivers across the desert. The main canals had secondary canals branching off, creating a network that irrigated thousands of acres. Then, around 1450 CE, the civilization collapsed, and the canals were abandoned. Modern Phoenix is built on top of the ancient canal system. Several modern canals follow Hohokam routes. The geography that supported a sophisticated civilization 600 years ago is the same geography supporting Phoenix today. We're just repeating history, hoping for different results. 34. The Sonoran Desert, hottest in North America. The Sonoran Desert covers 100,000 square miles across Arizona, California, and Mexico. It's the hottest desert in North America, with summer temperatures regularly exceeding 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Phoenix hit 122 degrees Fahrenheit in June 1990. But the Sonoran is unique because it's a wet desert, receiving 2 rainy seasons, winter storms from the Pacific and summer monsoons from the Gulf of California. This creates incredible biodiversity, 2,000-plus plant species and more reptiles, mammals, and birds than any other desert. The saguaro cactus, Arizona's symbol, grows only in the Sonoran Desert. These giants can reach 40 feet tall, weigh 8 tons, and live over 200 years. The desert isn't lifeless. It's packed with life adapted to extremes that would kill most organisms. 33. Arizona's alien state fossil. Arizona's state fossil is petrified wood from Aracarioxylon arizonicum, a conifer tree that grew 225 million years ago during the Triassic period. These weren't small trees. Specimens over 200 feet long have been found. The petrified logs are so common that Arizona had a problem with theft. People were hauling away tons of petrified wood in trucks. Federal protection was needed. Every piece of petrified wood is a stone tree from when Arizona was a tropical swamp near the equator, before dinosaurs dominated the Earth. The fossils are time machines, showing what Arizona looked like in an alien prehistoric world. 32. Arizona's ancient tropical ocean under your feet. Much of Arizona sits on sedimentary rock formed when the state was underwater. The Redwall limestone in the Grand Canyon is a massive cliff band of fossilized coral reef, 500 to 800 feet thick. It formed 340 million years ago when Arizona was a tropical sea. Fossils of crinoids, brachiopods, and corals are everywhere. The Kaibab limestone at the canyon's rim is younger, 270 million years old, also marine limestone. Arizona's bedrock is compressed sea life. The entire state rose from ancient ocean floors through tens of millions of years of tectonic uplift. 31. Arizona is earthquake country. Arizona experiences hundreds of small earthquakes annually. Most are too small to feel, but the state sits on dozens of active faults. The largest historical earthquake was magnitude 5.6 near the Arizona-Mexico border in 1887. More recently, a magnitude 5.2 quake struck northern Arizona in 1993. The Basin and Range province is tectonically active. The crust is being pulled apart, creating faults that slip periodically. Unlike California, Arizona buildings aren't designed for earthquakes. A major quake would cause significant damage. The geology beneath Arizona is restless, still shifting and settling. 30. A canyon that could swallow. The Empire State Building. The Grand Canyon is so massive it defies comprehension. It's 277 miles long, up to 18 miles wide, and over a mile deep. The Empire State Building could fit inside with room to spare. The canyon's maximum depth is 6,093 feet, while the Empire State Building is 1,250 feet tall. The canyon holds 1.8 million acres. You could fit Rhode Island inside it. Standing at the rim, looking across the chasm, the far side is 10+ miles away, too far to see details. The scale breaks human perception. And here's the crazy part. The Grand Canyon is geologically young. The Colorado River carved most of it in the last 5 to 6 million years. In geological time, the canyon appeared almost overnight. 29. The Ice Age floods that never reached Arizona. During the last Ice Age, glaciers never reached Arizona. The state was cooler and wetter, but ice-free. However, Ice Age animals roamed Arizona. Mammoths, giant ground sloths, camels, and American lions. Fossils of these creatures have been found throughout the state, especially in caves and sinkholes. The dry climate preserves remains beautifully. Grand Canyon contains Pleistocene fossils, including giant condors and Harlan's ground sloth. Arizona was an Ice Age refuge, cold enough to support northern species, but warm enough to avoid glaciation. 28. The red rock that defines everything. Arizona's iconic red rock, visible in Sedona, Monument Valley, and throughout the state, is iron oxide. The Navajo sandstone, Coconino sandstone, and other formations are stained red by iron that oxidized, rusted millions of years ago. These rocks formed as ancient sand dunes that were buried, compressed into stone, then exposed through erosion. The red color is literally rust. The vivid oranges and reds that make Arizona landscapes so photogenic are iron decay preserved in stone. The state's signature color is geological corrosion. 27. The boulders that don't belong, sort of. Unlike glaciated states, Arizona has no glacial erratics, but it has gigantic boulders scattered across the landscape, eroded remnants of harder rock layers. The granite boulders in Phoenix's South Mountain and the massive rock formations in Chiricahua National Monument form through spheroidal weathering. Water seeps into cracks, chemical weathering rounds the edges, and eventually the rock breaks into massive rounded boulders. These formations are called hoodoos, and some are 30+ feet tall, balanced precariously on narrow stems. They look like alien sculptures, but are entirely natural, formed through millions of years of erosion acting on volcanic tuff. 26. Lake Mead's dropping secrets. As Lake Mead's water level has dropped over 180 feet, things are emerging from the depths. In 2022, at least 5 bodies were discovered in the lake, some in barrels, likely from Las Vegas mob killings decades ago. Sunken boats have appeared. An entire ghost town, St. Thomas, Nevada, has emerged from the water. The lake's bathtub ring is visible from space, a white band of mineral deposits showing where the waterline used to be. Lake Mead is revealing secrets and geography that were submerged for 80 years. The drought is turning back time, exposing a landscape that hasn't seen sunlight since the 1930s. 25. The Havasupai, America's most remote town. Supai, the capital of the Havasupai tribe, is the most remote community in the lower 48 states. There are no roads. The only access is by helicopter, mule, or an 8-mile hike down Havasu Canyon. Mail is delivered by mule. Supai is the last place in America with regular mule mail service. The village sits at the bottom of a side canyon off the Grand Canyon, at the confluence of Havasu Creek and Cataract Canyon. Havasu Falls, one of the most photographed waterfalls in America, is below the village. The geography isolates the community completely. You can't accidentally pass through Supai. You have to deliberately go there, on foot or by air. 24. Arizona's coastal wilderness, on lakes. Arizona has no ocean, but Lake Powell and Lake Mead create 1,960 miles of shoreline, more than the Pacific coast of California. These artificial lakes transformed desert canyons into water recreation areas. The shoreline is mostly sandstone cliffs, slot canyons, and hidden coves accessible only by boat. The geography created by damming the Colorado River is surreal. Desert mountains rising from turquoise water, beaches of red sand, and drowned forests visible through crystal-clear water. It's an invented geography, beautiful and artificial, sustained by water stolen from a dying river. 23. An underground river system. Below the desert floor, Arizona has massive aquifers, underground water stored in porous rock. The Phoenix Active Management Area alone holds billions of acre-feet of groundwater, but it's being pumped out faster than rainfall can recharge it. Water tables have dropped hundreds of feet. In some areas, the land is subsiding as groundwater is removed, creating fissures, massive cracks in the earth that can swallow cars. The longest known fissure is over 10 miles long and 300+ feet deep in places. Arizona is literally draining its underground reserves and the land is collapsing. 22. The mysterious walls of Casa Grande. Casa Grande ruins. National Monument preserves a 4-story building constructed by the Hohokam around 1350 CE. The structure is made of caliche, a cement-like deposit formed from calcium carbonate. The walls are oriented to astronomical events. The building functioned as a solar calendar, but its purpose remains mysterious. Was it a temple, an astronomical observatory, a chief's house? The Hohokam left no written records. The structure stands in the middle of the Sonoran Desert, a massive earthen building that has survived 700 years. Early settlers called it Casa Grande, Big House, and the name stuck. It's a geographical mystery, a structure whose purpose died with its builders. 21. Where the Colorado Plateau ends. The Colorado Plateau covers northern Arizona, a massive uplifted block of sedimentary rock sitting 5,000 to 8,000 feet elevation. The Mogollon Rim marks its southern edge, where the plateau abruptly ends in cliffs. This geographical boundary determines everything: climate, vegetation, water availability. Above the plateau, pine forests, cool summers, heavy winter snow. Below, scorching desert. The boundary is so sharp, you can stand with 1 foot in each climate zone. The Colorado Plateau is geologically distinct from the Basin and Range, and the transition zone where they meet creates Arizona's most dramatic topography. 20. The Gila River Ghost. The Gila River once flowed year-round from New Mexico across southern Arizona to the Colorado River. It supported Native American civilizations for millennia. Today, the Gila is mostly dry. Upstream dams, groundwater pumping, and agricultural diversion have drained it. Only during major floods does water reach the Colorado River confluence. The Gila is a ghost river, a victim of over-allocation. Arizona law grants more water rights on the Gila than the river actually carries, guaranteeing perpetual conflict and shortages. 19. From freezing mountains to scorching desert, Arizona's record high is 128 degrees Fahrenheit in Lake Havasu City on June 29, 1994, tied for the hottest temperature ever recorded in the United States. The record low is minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit at Holly Lake on January 7, 1971. That's a 168-degree range. You can ski at Flagstaff, Snow Bowl receives 260-plus inches of snow annually, and swim in Phoenix pools on the same January day. Arizona contains everything from alpine tundra to hell-hot desert. The state's elevation range, from 70 feet at the Colorado River to 12,633 feet at Humphreys Peak, creates climates ranging from Sonoran Desert to subalpine forest. 18. The Verde River's last stand. The Verde River is one of Arizona's last free-flowing perennial streams. Unlike most Arizona rivers, it hasn't been dammed to death. The river flows year-round through a valley that supports cottonwood forests, wetlands, and endangered species like southwestern willow flycatcher. But it's threatened. Groundwater pumping is lowering the water table, reducing spring flow. Development is encroaching. Verde represents what Arizona's rivers looked like before we broke them. It's a living reminder of the geography we destroyed everywhere else. 17. Arizona's dust storms. That swallow city's haboobs, massive dust storms, hit Phoenix regularly during monsoon season. These walls of dust can be a mile high and 100 miles wide, moving at 60+ miles per hour and reducing visibility to 0 in seconds. The storms are created when monsoon thunderstorms collapse, sending cool air rushing downward and outward, picking up desert dust and creating a rolling brown cloud. Driving becomes impossible. The sky turns brown, then black. The haboobs are so large they're visible from space. Phoenix's geography, flat valleys surrounded by mountains, creates perfect conditions for these storms. They're spectacular and terrifying. Route 16. Ghost towns across the desert. Arizona has over 275 documented ghost towns, abandoned mining settlements, failed agricultural colonies, and bypassed railroad stops. Jerome, clinging to Cleopatra Hill, had 15,000 people during the copper boom and dropped to 50 by the 1950s. Tombstone, site of the OK Corral gunfight, is mostly preserved tourism. But many ghost towns are just ruins. Vulture City, Ruby, Swansea. The desert preserves structures beautifully. Wood doesn't rot in the dry air. You can walk through abandoned towns that look like people left yesterday, though it's been 100 years. Arizona's boom and bust mining history is frozen in these desert ruins. Remember to subscribe and like to keep learning amazing information about each state in our beautiful country. 15. The richest copper mines. In America, Arizona produces 70% of U.S. copper. The Morenci mine is one of the largest copper mines on Earth, an open-pit operation 3 miles across and over 1,000 feet deep. The Bisbee mines produced 8 billion pounds of copper from 1880 to 1975. Copper mining created Arizona's economy and scarred its landscape. Massive tailings piles, abandoned open pits, and contaminated groundwater mark former mining sites. The industry made Arizona wealthy, but left environmental devastation. The state's geology, porphyry copper deposits formed by ancient volcanic activity, made it a mining powerhouse. The mountains literally contain fortunes in metal. 14. The Colorado River's emerald mistake below. Glen Canyon Dam, the Colorado River runs cold and clear, nothing like the warm, muddy river that carved the Grand Canyon. The dam releases water from 200 feet down in Lake Powell, where it's 45 degrees Fahrenheit year-round. This cold water transformed the ecosystem. Native fish adapted to warm, muddy water went extinct. Non-native trout now dominate. Algae and aquatic plants never existed in the pre-dam Colorado. The river's geography was completely altered. What flows through the Grand Canyon now isn't the Colorado River that created it. It's an artificial river controlled by humans, unrecognizable from its natural state. 13. The natural bridge that defies gravity. Natural bridges and arches are scattered throughout Arizona's Red Rock country. Rainbow Bridge National Monument features a sandstone arch 290 feet tall, one of the world's largest natural bridges. Formed by water erosion, these features are fragile and temporary. The sandstone is soft, constantly eroding. Some arches have collapsed in recent decades. Others will stand for thousands more years. These features exist in a narrow window of geological time. The rock must be eroded enough to create the bridge, but not so eroded it collapses. Arizona's arches are living geology, changing every year. 12. When Arizona was a tropical swamp. During the Permian period, 300 to 250 million years ago, Arizona was a tropical coastal swamp near the equator. Giant dragonflies, amphibians, and early reptiles thrived. The state's Permian rock layers preserve fossils of this ancient ecosystem. Later, during the Triassic, 250 to 200 million years ago, Arizona became a river-rich lowland, where early dinosaurs first evolved. Petrified Forest contains some of the world's best Triassic fossils: early dinosaurs, giant amphibians, and enormous crocodile-like phytosaurs. Arizona's rocks preserve the transition from the Permian to the age of dinosaurs. 11. Waterfalls in the desert. Arizona has over 60 documented waterfalls. Havasu Falls drops 100 feet into a turquoise pool, fed by calcium carbonate-rich water that creates travertine terraces. Grand Falls, also called Chocolate Falls, on the Little Colorado River is 185 feet tall, higher than Niagara Falls, though it only flows during snowmelt and monsoons. When it flows, the muddy water creates a chocolate-brown cascade in the middle of the desert. Arizona's waterfalls are ephemeral. Most flow only part of the year. They're temporary features in a landscape defined by drought. 10. Towering cliffs at Vermilion Cliffs. The Vermilion Cliffs along the Arizona-Utah border are sedimentary rock layers uplifted and eroded into 3,000-foot-high walls. The cliffs glow orange and red at sunset, creating one of the most photographed landscapes in the Southwest. California condors have been reintroduced here. The massive birds soar along the cliff faces. The cliffs are soft Navajo sandstone and erode constantly. Rock falls are common. The cliffs are slowly retreating, revealing new layers of colored stone. 9. Life in the limestone caves. Arizona's limestone caves support unique ecosystems. Blind cave beetles, albino scorpions, and rare bats live in total darkness. Some species exist only in specific cave systems. The caves maintain constant temperatures year-round. During ice ages, animals sheltered in these caves, leaving behind fossils. Paleontologists have found extinct species, ground sloths, mammoths, camels, preserved in cave sediments. Arizona's caves are biological refuges and paleontological gold mines. 8. The turquoise that built empires. Arizona is famous for turquoise. The Sleeping Beauty mine near Globe produced some of the world's finest turquoise, pure blue with no matrix. Native Americans mined turquoise for thousands of years, trading it across vast distances. Spanish conquistadors sought it. Today, most Arizona turquoise mines are depleted or closed. But the geology remains. Turquoise forms when copper-rich groundwater percolates through aluminum-rich rocks, creating the blue-green phosphate mineral. Arizona's geology created perfect conditions. The state's turquoise built wealth and adorned cultures across the Americas. 7. Where sky islands rise from desert southern Arizona's sky islands are isolated mountain ranges rising from desert floor to cool pine forests. Mount Lemmon near Tucson climbs from 2,500 feet, Sonoran Desert, to 9,157 feet, mixed conifer forest, in 27 miles. Each sky island is a biological ark, harboring species found nowhere else. Animals and plants stranded on mountaintops by warming climate can't reach other mountains. They're islands of biodiversity surrounded by a sea of desert. The Chiricahua Mountains, Huachuca Mountains, and Santa Catalinas each contain unique species. These mountains are evolutionary laboratories. 6. Rivers that shaped everything. Arizona has over 100,000 miles of rivers and streams, though most are dry most of the time. The Colorado River system dominates. The Colorado, Little Colorado, and Gila rivers drain most of the state. These rivers carved the landscape. The Grand Canyon, Oak Creek Canyon, and countless other gorges were created by flowing water cutting through uplifted rock. Without rivers, Arizona's geography would be unrecognizable. The rivers also made civilization possible. Every Native American settlement, every Spanish mission, every pioneer town was built near water. Arizona's history follows its rivers. 5. The Colorado River, Arizona's lifeline. The Colorado River is Arizona's most important geographical feature. It supplies water to 90% of Phoenix's population, irrigates 90% of the state's agriculture, and carved the Grand Canyon. The river is 1,450 miles long, drains 246,000 square miles, and provides water to 40 million people. But it's over-allocated. The 1922 Colorado River Compact divided water based on unusually wet years. The river's average flow is less than allocated rights. Arizona is last in line. If there's not enough water, Arizona gets cut first. The river that built Arizona might also be its downfall. 4. Monsoon season's violent birth. Arizona's monsoon season, July to September, brings violent thunderstorms almost daily. The monsoon happens when high pressure over the Four Corners region creates a clockwise flow, pulling moist air from the Gulf of California over Arizona. The hot desert surface superheats the air, creating explosive convection. Thunderstorms form every afternoon, producing lightning, flash floods, and hay booms. Phoenix averages 26 days with measurable rain annually, half fall during monsoon season. The storms are spectacular, dangerous, and essential. Without monsoons, Arizona's water situation would be even more desperate. 3. The Lake Powell debate. Glen Canyon Dam is one of America's most controversial structures. Built in 1963, it created Lake Powell and provides power to millions. But it drowned Glen Canyon, considered by some to rival the Grand Canyon in beauty. Environmentalists have called for the dam's removal for decades. Now, with Lake Powell at 27% capacity, the dam's future is uncertain. If the lake drops below dead pool, 3,370 feet elevation, the dam can't generate power. Some argue we should drain the lake intentionally, restoring Glen Canyon. Others say the water and power are essential. The debate is geographical and political. Should we restore drowned canyons or preserve hydroelectric power and water storage? 2. The Sonoran Desert's living cathedral. The saguaro cactus is Arizona's icon. These giants grow slowly. A 10-foot-tall saguaro is about 55 years old. A 40-foot saguaro with multiple arms is 150 to 200 years old. The largest saguaros weigh 8+ tons, mostly water, stored in accordion-pleated trunks. They bloom white flowers in May, producing fruit that Native Americans harvested for centuries. Saguaros grow only in the Sonoran Desert, in a narrow elevation band, 1,000 to 4,000 feet, where winter freezes are rare. They're indicators of geography. If you see saguaros, you're in the Sonoran Desert, nowhere else. 1. The Colorado Plateau, a fortress of stone. The Colorado Plateau covers northern Arizona, a massive, uplifted block of sedimentary rock spanning 130,000 square miles across 4 states. This isn't a mountain range. It's a plateau, relatively flat on top, but rising 5,000 to 8,000 feet above surrounding lowlands. The plateau was lifted by tectonic forces over millions of years, and erosion carved it into the landscape we see today. After learning these 50 insane facts about Arizona, which one surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments. Let's see how many of us picked the same one. And if you think we missed something, add your own. Your comments help shape future videos. There's another one on screen right now, so keep exploring the geography of our incredible country. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and I'll see you in the next one.